Hey, I'm JC Warbeck.
And I'm Clarissa Scheidel. We
We're
are the founders of Three Putt Golf Co.
As avid golfers, we could never find ladies' golf clothing that was comfortable and stylish.
So we decided to create our own brand that is fashionable, comfortable, and size inclusive up to 3X.
Each three-putt piece is uniquely ours. Check out our collection at threeputtgolfco.ca or visit our socials under Three Putt Golf Co.
And remember, 3 putts build character.
Hello and welcome to the Unexpected Journeys podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Comer, and in this podcast, we talk to people with interesting stories about unexpected journeys or unexpected things that happen in their lives. And I'm so excited to be joined today by Caregiver-Keera McSorley. Caregiver, thank you so much for taking time to chat with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we have kind of a unique story in how we met. We were both at a conference for caregivers. Yeah. You're an ambassador. And once I got chatting with you, Caregiver, there was just so much about your life story that intrigued me. And I knew when I started this podcast that I wanted to have you on. So we're going to get into the part a little bit later about you being a caregiver. But I want to talk about earlier in life. You were living in Nuvik and Yellowknife. Tell me, first of all, just the basics when you were up there. What were some of the things that you were doing?
The first thing I did there, I was managing the newspaper, the Inuvik Drum. And then I was up there for probably, less than a year. And I was asked if, I think it probably could be that somebody had seen me at the newspaper. And I was asked if I would be interested in taking a position as a justice of the peace. So then I was called and I said I would. And then, of course, quickly asked, what does it entail?
Well, and just to hear the fact that it really struck me that most people have to be a lawyer to be a justice of the peace. But I guess the reasoning up there wasn't a lot of qualified people for that position at that time. Is that correct?
Well, actually, it's not. They actually shy away from lawyers.
Okay.
Because people are represented in court with lawyers on both sides, right? The plaintiff and the accused. They needed somebody more that was community minded and somebody that would be professional enough, that would understand the position and be able to learn what their responsibilities were and represent the people in the community. And that was it, because you're a community representative.
And so what type of things did you learn? Sorry, Caregiver, what were some of the things you had to learn for that position?
I was really fortunate because when I first weighed in about a year before, I had a stroke, and which flattened me a little bit. And so I was really hoping that I had enough brain cells left that I could do what I was wanting to do. But I was fortunate because the chief judge of the territorial court at the time lived in Nuvik. And that was wonderful because when he was home, I had one-on-one training. He took me as a protege. That's how I felt. And we had hours and hours and hours, weeks and months. The training never stopped with him. And so teaching me how I should be on the bench, what my purpose was, all those little things that you just couldn't learn if somebody wasn't guiding you all through it.
What were some of the types of cases that you could handle? Was it pretty much everything, or was there a limit onto the type of cases that you could hear?
It was summary conviction. There's summary conviction and indictable. Indictable is any crime that is 2 years plus a day in prison or in jail. Summary conviction is anything 2 years less a day of a sentence. And you would follow the criminal code. And that's basically it. If it states it's mandatory that somebody must serve time, then that is what the judgment will be, that somebody has to serve time. And they would state in the code, no more than 6 months. So if it says no more than 6 months, you've got the discretion of saying 2 months or 4 months, because you're making that decision on everything that this person is letting you know. You know, according to the case.
Right. You talked about in one case there was I found it so unique because you could do a little bit of alternative sentencing. Now I know we can't name names, but it was the fellow with the snowmobile that had injured another person. Can you talk without naming names? Just talk about what happened there and then what the sentence was.
Yes, and there were a lot of different. There's so many because court was every week, and I also did the circuit north of
Hmm.
the Arctic Circle, and I did the circuit out of Yellowknife as well when I moved down to Yellowknife. This one young man, he was in his late 20s, and it was in. I'm trying to think of where that was. I think it could have been Arctic Red River uh, or Fort Good Hope, but. This one young man, it was driving intoxicated on a snowmobile, and he hit a 72, 73-year-old lady, and making it such that her leg was broken badly. And so it was very difficult because she was older and she had mobility problems, and then she broke her leg. And so what we were doing at the time, and we did this because we had the choice to do it, and we practiced native um, native justice week, it was called. And basically the Northwest Territories is governed under the same rulings as the Alberta courts. So the court is held exactly the same. You've got your crown, and you've got your hopefully there's a lawyer in the community.
Hmm.
And if not, then their person is represented by a court worker there that also is trained to represent people in court. So this young man hit the lady. And so all of the procedures are followed just as you would see in any court. When you're practicing native justice, the one difference is that when it comes time to sentencing, then you follow a different format.
Right.
And by that, what I'm saying is that I got to know, and I've made contact with all of the bands in the different communities, and some could be Inuit, some could be Indian. At the time, it could be, or maybe both in some communities. So I would get a hold of the chiefs in the communities and ask them, what is it that you need? I want to practice native justice, but I have to know that if I'm sentencing somebody, other than the regular sentencing that we would do, is somebody looking after the Fine Options program? Is social services looking after? Is the band looking after it? And also, if they are looking after it, are they following it well? Are they doing a good job of making sure that once a warrant is done, that it will be followed and
Hmm.
that the sentence will be carried out? And so in each court, I usually had the chief there. I had the band manager there. And you do Northern Court, and the whole court usually is full. People come in and buy a coffee, maybe a snack, come and sit down. There's no movie theaters. There's nothing else. So court is entertainment. So people are getting their hot chocolate or coffee, coming to court. And then with this one case where this young man had hit this lady, he said, "So I guess you're sending me to jail down south," which means a 3-hour jet ride paid by the government. And then they serve time in Yellowknife, and because they haven't got jails big enough up there, and then they get a 3-hour plane ride back. And usually while they're down south, they're able to maybe make some carvings or something, and sometimes even make money. So I said, "No, you're staying in the community." And so I asked the chief if he had his fine options program together, and he said, "Absolutely." And I said, "So if I state it, it'll be followed?" He said, "Correct." And so it's a matter about making sure that the punishment fits the crime.
Right.
So with him, I had stated, this lady is an elder in your community and she's not able to get out shopping. She only has one other family member to help her out. So please, you need to build her a sled so that if she has to go to the store, she can put it on the sled and she doesn't have to carry it. And then also, I asked, what's in season? Is it seal Fort Good Hope, it wouldn't be seal, but is it hunt, can people hunt caribou right now? And the chief would nod. I said, anything else? Ratting season's coming up. That was muskrats. And there's this and that. And so I said, you must make sure that she is fed for 1 year. It's going to take longer for an elder to heal. So you're going to make sure that she is fed for 1 year and that she has a sled. And if she's got any mobility problems, you will have to drive her to one place to the other. So in other words, she is under your care for a year. And those details will be mentioned in the warrant. And so I would always, after stating something, is that all right with you, Chief? Is it adequate? And he would say yes or no. Sometimes it would be, if it wasn't something very personal, most northern communities have a food locker in
Okay.
case. And so it would be, you have to get one caribou and, or maybe 2 caribou. And when you're hunting those, that is to go to the community food locker. So it would be things like that, all connected to the community. So that if a person was hurt, you're not just, somebody's not going to put you on a plane to go out
Mhm.
south. That's like a holiday.
Right.
You are going to help the community because this lady is part of that community.
Are there any other cases, Kira, that stand out to you? Is there something that you really remember of a case that you dealt with that really stuck with you?
There was one that I ended up having to, it was sort of strange. Usually it would be a territorial case. This one was territorial case, and which would be like a provincial case. But they needed to have, because you were dealing with distance, and this was a community where it was hard to get a lawyer in, and you're wanting to make sure that everything has to be held in a timely manner. So there was one, it was that needed a show cause hearing. And so they couldn't figure out, they might lose it because they couldn't get a lawyer. A lawyer was like 4 hours away by plane, by jet. And that was when you're flying, not
Mm-hmm.
to let alone to book it. And so I asked the judge at the time, the territorial judge, would it still be covered and legal if I could do a show cause hearing and we'd have the judge listening in on a speakerphone? So you're here, you can hear everything that's going, or correct me at any time. And it was a case where a guide took out, I can't remember how old the fellow was,
Mm-hmm.
30, 40, somewhere in there. And a lot of times, they're really good guide dog companies,
Okay.
really good. And because this is their livelihood, their dogs are their livelihood, and they take hunters out all the time. This one fellow took this, I don't know I think he was a photographer or something. And some of the bad dog handlers don't feed their dogs well. They sort of hold back a bit of food because they feel they'll run better
Okay.
or they'll get more out of them, which is wrong, but some feel that. And there was a case where the dogs went after this young man,
Okay.
attacked him, and he was mauled very badly to the point he almost died. And so this is why they wanted to make sure that they could keep jurisdiction. And so the judge agreed to this show cause hearing being
Mm-hmm.
run this way. And so we did a show cause. And as I said, this fellow was mauled pretty badly, almost to the point of death. He did make it through,
Mm-hmm.
but you can see the severity in that, where one of the things that you have a difficult time with in the Arctic is distance. It's so vast.
Right.
And some communities, it could be 3 hours by jet, 2.5 hours by small bush plane. It's tough to get to some communities. So that, and to me, it was just seeing the pictures of what the young fellow looked like. Very graphic. It it stays with you,
Yeah.
when you see pictures like that. And the he was chewed up pretty badly. So at least it was such that we were able to remand him to custody until the judge could get up.
Yeah, and get the case moving through just to make sure that it didn't end up. I guess in some cases it can be tossed if you don't get it in a timely fashion. Correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
At 3 Putt Golf Co., we designed everything from the bottom up, so each piece is uniquely ours. We create golf apparel that looks good and moves with you. We are a Canadian company based out of Saskatchewan, and you can check out our full collection at 3puttgolfco.ca. You can also check out our social media handles at 3Putt Golf Co. Remember, 3 putts build character.
And now, Keera, through your journey, you have become a caregiver, and you did some things, especially in the foster system. So there were some incidents that happened there, and I know that the foster system can be difficult to navigate. So tell me a little bit about your role when you were a caregiver within that system, some of the things you experienced.
Yes, I worked as a foster parent. That was first, I
Mm-hmm.
guess. And then I had the care of my father, and I was with the group home system for a little over 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so, all of those are caregiving. The foster system, I think could be better for me. I think could be a bit better. I think the whole system needs to have some tweaks.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that an ombudsman or somebody would be appointed to overlook the system. I think we need it. And with the foster system, I know that even when I was a caregiver
Mm-hmm.
within the group homes, I had people come up and say, uh, I've got a foster child, but they're displaying some weird behaviors. I don't want to take it to social services because I don't want to lose this child. We love him.
Right.
And we're afraid they're going to say, well, obviously something's wrong. Maybe we should take him away. And they didn't want that. They wanted to be able to know what was the problem so they could work with them on it. And which is super. I mean, wow, to have a foster parent like that,
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't we all love to see them,
Yeah.
foster parents like that? And it's so huge. But even when you're dealing with, I looked after mentally challenged with uh, extreme behaviors,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of clients were from psych wards or from jail cells. And it's the one thing that really, uh, one of the things that came out for me was the fact that we've got all sorts of agencies to look after different disabilities and different situations. People aren't really thinking much about the caregiver. And it doesn't matter if you're a paid giver or if you've only cared for somebody for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
There is no difference in the timeline. None. The thing is that with caring for other people, you can go through grief, you can go through guilt, and you can, and loss. And those are all the same things that the person being cared for goes through. They're going through those three things as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as a caregiver, you can go through them because you connect with these people. You connect with the people that you're with. If you've had a client for 2 years or 3 years, you're invested and you want to see things improving. And, you want to know that the care has improved from what you had. And I think that's what all of us want.
Right.
And it's the caregiver just doesn't get any time. With a lot of agencies, don't spend enough time on that. The houses that I was in, I made sure I did self-care with my caregivers, with the staff, always did. And it's important because if the caregiver can't make sure they're looking after their own needs and doing self-care on themselves, you're not capable of assisting somebody else. It's the same thing as that mask coming down on the plane.
Right. Put
Yeah,
your
put
own
it on yourself
mask
first.
first. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And that's it.
Well, and you're an ambassador for Caregivers Alberta, Keera, now. So tell me
Yeah.
what you do in that role.
What I've done is I've gone to all of the doctor's offices. I've had Mountain View County. And so I always contact first. I'm not just going in and dropping off paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
I contact people. I go to the doctor's office, speak to the office manager, drop off some paperwork to explain what it's about. And it's caregivers looking after caregivers. And some people automatically think, oh, you're with the seniors organization, gray hair, or you're, you're another agency out there. And I've stated we're caregivers looking after caregivers. And the whole purpose is, as I said, you go to the doctor's offices, pharmacies. One, I love going through FCSS, family and community, services.
Mm-hmm.
They get the funding for the communities, and they know, like, they've been in these communities for some girls. They live in the communities, and they're managing their office of FCSS. They run all of the programs, all the money going out. They know exactly how much where to. So that's a wonderful contact to know what's in this community. And just because somebody thinks, well, it should be the same as the next community, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Their age community is different. And we're lucky enough that we've got the two communities, Carstairs and Didsbury, that run very closely together. And we do a lot of things together. Yet again, they're very separate and have their own identities. And whereas Carstairs, as I said, I would do the doctor's offices, pharmacies, even places like, oh no, one of the things when I was younger, one of the best outlets is physical activity.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice way to deal with frustrations
Right.
and, issues that you may have. So I contacted the gym and to make sure that people have flyers. And I put flyers up at the food stores, all the food stores.
Yeah.
Timmy's, of course.
Right.
But it's going to interagency meetings. So you're meeting everybody that all of the other people in the helping profession are there. And, 211 is there, the police, everybody's there.
Yeah.
So that is a really nice contact for anybody that's wanting to go out and meet people in the community, as far as if you have an agency or a source that you wish to explain or hand over some information of who you are. When you're dealing with a place like Didsbury and Old, it's different because it's a hospital town.
Right.
And so you've got a lot of agencies built around the hospital. So you can spend months going through everybody there. But there's a few people, anybody that has volunteers, that's a good source to go to, because any volunteers through Alberta Health, AHS, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're volunteer agencies there. It could be Alzheimer's, it could be ALS, it could be different departments, but they're good ones. Contact them, let them know what the caregivers do, and it's invaluable. But as I said, if you go to for me, the interagency, and make sure, as I stated when I started, I wanted to make sure that our community, everybody in our community knows about caregivers.
Right.
Because even at this stage, a lot of people still feel they shouldn't be attending a caregivers group. We have the caregivers group, Old has been up and running, caregiver support group for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the ones in Didsbury and Carstairs have been running for about 4 months.
Okay.
So, and we've got about 8 or 9 people in each, which is great. It's a good start. But a lot of people feel they shouldn't be there. People saying, well, I'm a grandmother. I'm not a caregiver.
Well, yes, you are.
Yes. But you've got a grandchild with autism,
Mm-hmm.
and it's causing issues in the family, and it's dealing with these different things. But it's not only the emotional side, it's the caregivers looking after caregivers, but it's also an information,
Right.
source, so that if somebody's been bedridden and needs a specialized wheelchair for $24,000, call the hotline,
Mm-hmm.
and they can help put you in touch with people that can try to figure out how how you can manage to get a chair.
Yeah. Well, and
So,
Keera,
and
I was going to say,
well,
one of the things that we learned at the conference that you and I were both at, the stat that came out was 1.2 million unpaid caregivers in Alberta. So those would be family members and friends who are basically taking care of loved ones. And they sometimes have like a full-time job on top of things as well. And of course,
yeah,
then burnout becomes a real problem. So
yeah,
what do you think can be done, or what needs to change to help this situation? Because that's a real issue.
that is a huge issue, and it's one that I don't think people can click onto. It's people aren't clicking onto it,
Mm-hmm.
really, because I don't feel they are at all. Do you know that Edmonton has 1.2 million people?
Yeah. So
And
you put
right
that in
now,
perspective.
yes, that's in perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And for, maybe a few years ago, it was a little over 1 million people. Now it's 1.2. It's only going to increase, because for me to understand that, I know that I've had several surgeries.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you don't get kept in the hospital for a week or two anymore.
That's right.
You have major surgery, and quite often you're out the door same day.
Yep.
And so somebody is looking after these people. And when you're a senior and you go and have surgery, it's not a quick recovery. And so family has to step in, friends have to step in, somebody has to step in. And this is, I think, a little more pervasive than people understand. It's not like, we've got where right now, a lot of the, uh, our population is our seniors.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, So we have that, and there's senior issues with dementia or whatever it's going to be. And a lot of people are holding on to their family members, their fathers and mothers, longer, because they can't afford to send them into a unit. They haven't got the money to send them into a unit. So somebody in the family is always having to watch them. And that's only the senior issue.
Right.
I know several people that, a child, one family, they're in their 70s, early 70s. Their 40-year-old had a car accident, is brain damaged, and they're looking after him. And as they say, what happens when something happens with us?
That's right.
What are we going to do? And it's a constant worry. For somebody to have a constant worry about something which is valid,
Mm-hmm.
like, what are we going to do? And so they come asking questions. So it's not only that. I know of a father who has a 10-year-old daughter. The mother isn't in the picture anymore, but the
Mm-hmm.
daughter is autistic,
Okay.
and he's working shift work so that he can look after his daughter. But he hasn't dated in 10 years. He's tired
Mm-hmm.
all the time. He doesn't have a group of friends because his whole focus is his daughter.
Right.
And so he needs somebody to tell him, and once is not enough, because once you're entrenched in that caring, it's hard to break that. It's almost like, this is my life.
Mm-hmm.
So suck it up, princess. Here I go. This is what I've got to do.
Yeah.
And it's not the case. This is something where you can go out and talk to somebody. Wouldn't it be nice to talk to somebody that can offer you options?
Right.
It's a matter of, one thing nice about a support group is that other people in the group can say, I was there 2 years ago.
Yeah. Or I tried
Well,
this, or this worked for
yes.
me.
And to have somebody that is going through it, that's letting you know what's worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
What is good, what is not. I tried that, it didn't work, but I tried these things.
Yeah.
You might want to try those. So there are so many issues, and people don't even give thought. The caregiver, I know for a while I had to work less hours for the care of my father after he came home from the hospital. And so I cut my hours at work, but I'm a single person. So I'm cutting my hours. I still have bills to pay. But my father needed a certain amount of care for a few weeks. So you cut your hours. And then, of course, the stress bills,
Yeah.
because the money's also tighter.
Yeah.
And so it's just,
Kind of a
uh,
vicious cycle.
it is a cycle. It's
Yeah.
everything involved is a cycle. I personally feel that we should be stepping beyond and contacting the MLAs, the aldermen, that this is something I think most people can get behind. Like, what area of people at 1.2 million in Alberta alone?
Yeah.
This is a big group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And so isn't this important going on in the future?
Yeah.
Because if you're stressing out the population, it's the work, they're not getting to work. They're not producing as well as they should in the workplace. It would be very nice. I saw an ad the other day, and it said it was a company, I don't even know where, it was in Canada. And they said, if anybody is donating an organ, that our company will pay, you know, give full payment for this
Mm-hmm.
person while they're on leave.
Oh, okay.
Wow. I mean, why don't they do something for caregivers? I'm not saying, give all this free time, but there
Right.
are things that you can do, and be more aware if somebody has to take time off and work with them. We need the productivity, but uh, is maybe a couple of days this week and a couple of days next. Would that work for you?
Yeah.
And, maybe can't give you full pay, but maybe half pay. Can we work
Something.
something out?
Yeah.
Something, or even have some understanding. And because too many people, it's like, I've got to take a bit of time. Well, if you can't work, sorry, we'll find somebody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Talk
And
about,
I think there are businesses and some places, from what I've learned, that are adding into even their contracts. Like, if you are a caregiver or if you need time, we can do something for you. So that's nice to see. But I think, Kira, it's probably still a long road to get that to be a mainstream thing.
yes.
And that's
Yeah.
very unfortunate.
But I think if, I know politicians usually are looking for a platform.
Yeah. There you go.
Yes. And it just takes a few people to say, if nothing else, but for somebody to say, government wise or otherwise, we feel your pain.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we understand, because maybe they went through something, or the wife of having to look after a parent.
Yeah.
That with 1.2 million in this province, then nobody can tell me they don't know someone that isn't a caregiver.
That's right. And I think that the issue too, Keera, you hit it on the head earlier when you said that people don't realize in some cases even that they are caregivers because they think it's somebody, it's, the senior parents. You talk about the, having to care for your child or whatever the case may be. And one of the things too that is an option, and I really want to make sure we let people know this, is the support line. So if you are feeling overwhelmed, the support line, the number is 1-877-453-5088. And so if somebody calls that number, Keera, what type of help do they get? Or what can they find out, I guess, if they call that number?
The hotline is open from, I think, 9:30 till 5 o'clock. I'm trying to think of the exact time. It's a daytime
Okay.
line, Monday through Friday.
Yeah.
And so if somebody was to call, it would be, if they're just needing somebody to vent with, the person on the line can help them with that. Or it could be they're needing a referral for something, or information. The hotline is for just about anything.
Okay. Even just to have that person to hear you on the other end.
Yes. Yes. And maybe it's, somebody that can hear you right now and then be able to refer to somebody in your area.
Yeah.
That could at least you can continue a conversation with.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're an ambassador, Keera, as we spoke about before, and there are also not enough of those in Alberta. They would like to have more. So, how much time do you need to commit if you are an ambassador for Caregivers Alberta?
I think that's going to be a personal thing because
Okay.
we're all different, and a lot of some people they can. We're all built different, so everybody's going to commit differently. I find for me, it's I have I think for me, I'm just if you're going to have everybody at least know that about what a caregiver is, then you need to make it so that it's something that people will hear
Right.
often in the community. So it's a matter of talking to a lot of people. I probably have committed from last summer till Christmas time, maybe 200 hours in preparation
Okay.
time. And that's just preparation. That's not going out to see anybody.
Yeah.
And then, so I'll be going out to the different doctor's offices, agencies,
Yeah.
and so that they are aware. And in the communities as well, you have many functions that every time there's a function, I know every time there's a function in Carstairs and Didsbury and Cremona, paperwork is out so that people can see these are the agencies that we have contact with that can help you. And so it's things like that. If you've got going to see certain people and they know people in the interagency meetings, you can, I met so many different people there that understand and know you've got a support group. Good. But it's the awareness.
So, Keera, what would you want if you had one thing to say to caregivers now that are listening who are suffering from burnout and don't know where to go for help and didn't even realize that there was help available? What advice would you give them? Talking to them now if they happen to be listening.
First thing, you've got to reach out. A lot of times we get trapped within ourselves and feel that I can handle it. It's just me. I can get beyond this. It's just temporary. No, it's burnout, and it's the best thing you could do is reach out. I've mentioned connection a lot within a support group or in meetings, but an Alzheimer's patient will improve if they have more connection. We are human beings. We need that connection.
Yeah.
The connection is so important. So for me is like connect with somebody else, reach out. If you're find somebody that is great that you can have coffee with, a coffee buddy can help you out with a lot of things.
Yeah.
So a nice coffee buddy, reach out, find an agency. It'd be nice if there was a support group somewhere, but it doesn't hurt to attend one or two, see what you think. But connection is the key. We all have to connect more to get through this.
Keera, that is very, very wise words of advice. And thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time today to tell me about your life and about caregivers. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. I really, really enjoyed it. And thank you so much again for joining me.
Thanks for asking.
Unexpected Journeys is produced and hosted by me, Stacey Comer. Executive producer is Sean Lannon. Podcast and host representation is Lemon Entertainment. Thank you to our episode sponsor, 3Putt Golf Co. You can find us on all social media and podcast sites under the name Unexpected Journeys. Please like and subscribe wherever you're listening to us. We appreciate any and all feedback, and if you are interested in being a guest on the Unexpected Journeys podcast, you can email us at unexpectedjourneyspod@gmail.com. For sponsorship inquiries, send a message to jessica@lemonent.com. That's lemon with 2 M's. Thank you so much for listening.